What the is going on?
I like to party.
Jesus, honey, wax much?
This is Unwaxed
Get in, loser, we're going shopping.
with Sophia and Sistine Stallone.
Did we just become best friends?
Yep.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Unwaxed with your favorite sisters, Sophia and Sistine Stallone.
Hi guys, how are ya?
How you doing?
Did you have a good breakfast?
Is it breakfast for them, do you think?
I'm gonna say it's breakfast.
How's your car ride? Are you going to work? Are you excited? Or wait, no, it's Zoom.
Did you drink your green tea today? We're getting off that caffeine, guys. We're doing it together.
You know what I hate? I hate people that tell me that I need to start drinking green tea over coffee.
You know what I hate?
When
people tell me, "Oh, I don't drink coffee. I only drink." If you're a tea drinker, I don't trust you.
I don't trust you. I totally
I'm
agree.
sorry if you are.
We're caffeine, like coffee freaks in our family. When we have that coffee pot and we make it to the full 14 cups, and that pot is gone within the first hour.
Do you understand what I have to do? I like to sleep in. Sophia, what time are you up? Ass crack of dawn.
Yeah, I'm up 6:37.
So I hear
every day.
Sophia go down the stairs, right?
Yeah.
And I know she's getting that cup of coffee. Right after she does that, my mom does it. Now, if I decide, let me just sleep in 10 more minutes, I'm not getting a cup of coffee.
No, you're not getting
So
anything.
I literally have to drag, our problems, right? I literally have to drag my ass out of bed to beat you just to get a cup of coffee.
Early bird gets the worm, Sistine. Early bird gets the worm. And that means I get the nice, hot, fresh cup of coffee. But Scarlett's been drinking my almond creamer, and now I'm out. It's driving me nuts.
The struggle.
The struggle I'm facing this morning.
Anyway.
You made a bomb dinner last night.
Oh, yeah.
I want to just give you credit.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
You guys, I've been learning how to cook. Now, I've done maybe 4 meals for my family.
Yeah.
3 of which were extremely unsuccessful.
You made really, really shitty turkey meatballs that one time.
They were
heinous. I've never seen a meatball melt into a pancake.
You guys.
How do you do that? Like, it was so gross. It comes out of the oven and it is pancakes.
It looks like a flapjack.
And they were balls when we put it in.
Okay, so yeah, that one wasn't successful. I made a few suspicious soups. But last night, let me tell you what I made, you guys. I made baked potato, which, yes, I know you literally just have to stab it and throw it in the oven. There's literally zero
there's
prep,
not that much, but
it was delicious. So I did baked sweet potatoes, right?
Yeah.
I made a white Tuscan bean soup. Unreal.
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of prep.
What else? And then I made a great kale salad with like a little spicy Dijon ratatouille mustard vinaigrette. Oh my God.
Yeah, you have been getting better.
Oh my God. And you know what? I've been telling people, I'm like, oh, I'm learning how to cook. And for some reason,
they don't believe you?
No, not only that, there's a different kind of respect that you get. If you actually can say, I know how to cook, notice how people's faces light up. They're like, oh my God, like that's impressive. Because
Yeah.
a lot of people can't cook.
No, I think it's shocking. I mean,
Yeah.
I know I can cook. I don't do it as often as you do. I think you've been like way more adamant about like making things.
Yeah.
And I think it's practice makes perfect, but people just don't want to put in time for the prep. And that is really what it is. Like going to the grocery store, buying all those minis, like those little ingredients you do need.
Oh my God.
It does
help.
help.
Looking for something called miso paste
Exactly.
for 20 minutes in the market. Never ended up finding it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you know what? I was in there for 4 hours cooking.
I think your soup, which I know you're like, oh, soup, how hard is it to make a bean soup? She has like 12 different vegetables.
It's an art.
Yeah, she's like artichoke, beans, carrots, celery, onions.
But do you want to talk about how you didn't have any of my dinner?
No, I was busy. I feel like everyone's going to think I'm lying by the amount of dates I go on.
Mm-hmm.
I had a hamburger and red wine. It was delicious. And I tried foie gras.
What?
Yeah, I didn't know what it was. And the guy was like, it's great. And I'm like, I don't know. It looks like Spam. Different colors. Do you know what it is?
No, I don't even. First of all, I don't even know what it is. It just sounds
It's
gross.
a French dish. It's
snail?
No, that's escargot.
Escargot.
This is duck liver. And it looks like Sistine. It looks like, how do I explain it? It looks like what our dogs used to eat, the Caesar's little food cups. Like, it just, you know how it's all hard and you scoop it out and it can kind of stay the same shape? Yeah.
I don't understand how people see that and find it appetizing.
Yeah. Well, it came out in like these little square shapes, and you cut it like it's so crazy.
Oh, come on.
And it had little I know people are probably like, I've had foie gras, Sophia, stop. But no, this is my first experience. Came out with little toast, and then had figs, I think, on the side, like fig jam.
I like figs.
I liked fig jam. So he was like, do it, taste it. And I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to be a wimp. So I'm like, I'm going to do it. I do taste things. I'm like, I'll try it once.
Well, if I'm on a date with someone, I will.
You will do it.
Just to seem like an adventurous girl. But inside, I'm literally, my stomach is turning.
I mean, I was curious, but I was looking at this, and I'm a texture girl, like with food. And Sistine knows this. Like, I like crunch. I like things. I don't like mush.
It's
that
true.
much.
Sophia would rather eat a snack that has no flavor, but just has an amazing
crunch.
chew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have these beet chips that everyone makes fun of me, and they're so gross, honestly. They're like, have no flavor.
But I can hear her down the hall
like,
eating it because they're so loud.
Because the texture is so nice.
The texture.
But so I'm about to put this. He's like, here, you gotta try it. You're gonna love it. I'm like, oh God. And I tried it. And it.
Describe the texture.
Oh, it was like, I honestly, it was a flavor I've never had, so I can't even explain it, but I definitely didn't love it. But I also have to say, like, I was like, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be, but after looking up and finding out it was duck liver, that's like saying when you find out a hot dog is all the other stuff part of the pig into a, you know how hot dogs are, isn't it hot dogs, everything else but the meat of the pig, right?
Excuse me?
All ground up together.
Come again?
You know this. Hot dogs are everything but, oh my God.
What about a pig in a blanket? Same thing.
Sistine.
One's
long, one's short and
you
wrapped.
look up the hot dog fact. I'm going to update the listeners on our wild night out the other night because I think it's kind of funny. So Sophia and I, our cousin came into town. And it was a blast. And we said, we got to show him a fun time. Let's go out to dinner and let's just get a drink at a bar and just have a good time, right?
Yeah.
So we get accidentally more drunk. And I don't know if anyone does that, but it happens where you just stand up after you've been sitting at the table, drinking, eating your dinner, and you're like, holy Toledo.
Yeah.
It just hits you out of nowhere.
And this is the problem. I think when it comes to drinking, there's a limit, and you know when your limit is. You stand up and you're like, oh my gosh, I need to drink water. But for some reason that night,
Sophia?
I did the opposite.
I want to say Sophia.
Both of them were clear. They're both liquids. I decided to do the one that tasted like nothing because I was
Sophia was the MVP of the night.
Thank you.
I'm not gonna lie. You were MVP, most valuable drunk. And I'll tell you why.
I swear I'm not.
All of our no, you're not. You just like to have a good time. All of our sort of memories from the night before came to us when we were at breakfast the next day.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Everything sort of just hit us.
Yeah.
Sophia, while we were at dinner, don't remember this.
Yeah, I got an email the morning after.
She got an order confirmation. She thought it would be a good idea to drunkenly order family mood rings. Now, you may be asking what was the context of that conversation. I couldn't tell you.
I cannot tell you why I decided specifically family mood rings. We've never had a conversation like this before.
So, and you bought all of our sizes.
I like got everyone's size. So everyone has the perfect size mood ring.
So you get mood rings.
No one can tell me that they're not excited for this. I think that was probably the best. But I also don't drunk order anything.
I would be wearing my mood ring right now.
I know, me too.
If it came.
But I don't ever do that. And that was the first time I've ever woken up. All my girlfriends are like, oh, I buy this. And you had a friend that just bought like something funny. And so.
Yeah, I mean, drunk ordering things are just the most fun.
But I always feel guilty for that, even though I didn't hurt anyone. I wasn't throwing up everywhere. I wasn't falling over.
Can't a girl just have a few drinks
and
have
live a good time?
Live her life.
But why do we have this alcohol guilt? Like, I don't want to feel guilty for saying, you know what? I never drink throughout the week, ever. I'm like, I'm going to have one Friday where I just have a good time.
Our family's in town.
Yeah.
You know what? I have severe alcohol guilt. I don't know why. I try to fight the feeling of a hangover so bad. Like, my brain and my body will not allow me to relax if I am dying the next day after drinking. And I don't know why it is. Sometimes you're just like, okay, you had a crazy night out. Take a day.
Yeah.
I feel guilty for taking time to relax and rest. I don't know why. And it's like me too. I never drink. And when I do, it's maybe once a week we'll have a fun night out. But dude, I get the guilt. I'm like, well,
like the fact I'm like explaining all the stuff I did, and I'm sitting here like thinking about it, and I feel embarrassed. But I'm like, why do I feel embarrassed about it? You know, if you ever want to go out with me, I'm fun to go out with. You might get hurt.
You know what? Sophia and I actually wanted to do this in the very beginning of the Unwaxed podcast saga. We thought it would be really funny to bring in our drunk alter egos and have them run the show.
Oh, yeah.
And so her drunk alter ego name is Bambi.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly what you might think. Think about Bambi when she's on ice.
Yep.
And that's Sophia. Like, her ankles just stop working.
Mm-hmm.
My drunk alter ego is named Tina. Don't know why. Her name's Tina.
Tina gets a little airheady, and Tina gets a little sassier.
Tina has no sense of right and wrong.
No.
But we will both be on the table. You will be falling off, but we will both be on the table. So maybe we'll do that one day.
Maybe we'll. I think that'd be kind of funny.
To move past our drunk guilt.
Yes, exactly.
Should we talk about our guest that we have?
Oh my God. I mean, you can introduce her since you got her to come on, which is so sick.
Very exciting, you guys. We haven't had a proper guest. Of course, we've had family members make their appearances these past few episodes, but we really haven't had a full-on first-time meeting interview in a long time. And it's so exciting. Mm-hmm. We cannot wait. We have Dr. Sheila Nazarian coming on. She is a plastic surgeon. You may have recognized her from the Netflix show Skin Decisions, before and after. It's on Netflix. I mean, it is such a good conversation. We talk about everything from what girls do on Instagram for their bodies. We talk about how to be a boss woman. We talk about, we go
everywhere. I mean, we talk about how to stand up to someone that's doubting your abilities because they perceive you a certain way. And we
talk about plastic surgery myths.
Also go what you should do now to take better care of your skin, your body, your hair, everything. And we learned a lot from her, and she is such a badass. And I'm so, so glad you guys are here to listen to this, because this is a real treat, and she really killed it. And this is her. Dr. Sheila Nazarian is not only a mom, wife, entrepreneur, and a board-certified plastic surgeon specializing in natural results using both non-invasive and surgical modalities. She also has an amazing Netflix series called Skin Decisions. With a following over 500,000 on Instagram, she's an activist, shares wellness tips and step-by-step procedures. She does everything. This is Dr. Sheila Nazarian.
Woo!
Hey guys.
Hi. Thank you so much for coming on Unwaxed today. I mean, you are such an exciting guest for us to have, honestly.
Oh my God, you're so sweet. Well, you like checking out you guys' profiles.
No, but I swear you really
You know what I think it is? No, seriously. I think like when you can put an Instagram caption that's less than 3 words and get like 20,000 likes on it, that's when you know you made it.
That's when you made it. That's when you made it. No, but you really check all of the boxes of like a guest that we'd love to have on the show. A female, a boss woman, a mom, an activist. You really do it all. So we're so happy to have.
Also, you're hilarious.
Yeah, you're
like,
so
not
cool.
only that, you have a great personality. So it's like everything just is badass. No, you're great. So we're so excited to have you on. I mean, Sistine and I, we saw the show Skin Decisions, and from then on out,
it was definitely one of those quarantine binges. And we probably saw every single episode in 2 days. I want to know so many things about the show. I mean, when did they offer it to you? What was the shooting process like? Having cameras in the room? What was it all like?
No, I mean, it was definitely like a saga to get a TV show. And that was definitely my goal since residency. I remember I was like a 5th-year plastic surgery resident. And one of the attendings was like, so like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? I'm like, I'm going to have a TV show. And and he looks at me like, okay, weirdo, like whatever. But I feel like every single person has their own unicorn, right? I feel like there's so many plastic surgeons in my building alone. My building, not even Beverly Hills, there's in my building 31 plastic surgeons.
Oh my God.
Wow.
So it's like, you know, we all can do a breast augmentation. We can all do a tummy tuck, but it's like, what is your unicorn? Like, what sets you apart from everybody else? And I think that can be applied to anyone in any business.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like I communicate clearly and I'm personable, which a lot of people
You definitely
aren't,
are.
and also like I'm good on camera. And I've been, you know, when I first came out of residency, nobody knew who I was. Like nobody knew my name. So I just started creating content and like answering frequently asked questions on YouTube. My SEO, you know, showing up on the first page of Google shot up after 2 years. I was on the first page of Google. If you search Beverly Hills plastic surgeon, which is like, again, how many plastic surgeons are in Beverly Hills? Like the car lot. And no, I just started creating content. So for me, having cameras in the room wasn't a big deal at all. But I actually went through a few pilots. I was actually under contract with E! for a year. They decided not to pick up that show, but actually the producer from that show that never got picked up was the one that approached me for Skin Decision. So it was almost like, you know, you spread that net wide, you create as
full
many
circle.
connections.
Well, there's also so many places that you can send this. I mean, that this is a show that people want to see because it just kind of takes away the whole stereotype of plastic surgery from it being just plastic to it really changing lives.
Well, that's why
what your goal was.
I mean, if the listeners out there, if you guys haven't seen the show, it is not your generic plastic surgery botched type show. It's not about exploiting people's sort of insecurities. It's more about giving them a second chance and giving them like, you know, a resurrection in their own skin again. And I found myself crying. I mean, the stories of people that you got to work on, it was like someone got a bullet hole wound and someone was a slashing attack scars. I mean, they were really special cases. So seeing you, you know, firsthand just completely change these people's lives was amazing. I mean, what did that feel like?
No, I mean, that's definitely like what we do, you know, as plastic surgeons. It's not the circus that it's made out to be on TV. My patients are super empowered women that just need help with something. Like they're already successful. They already work out, they eat well, and they just like had, you know, quadruplets or something, and they can't work off the skin hanging off their belly or whatever it is. And, you know, it doesn't have to be even that. It could just be like a labiaplasty. It could be someone who doesn't like the way their vagina looks, and that's okay. And I think there was two intentions I had with the show, is basically to show plastic surgery as a part of self-care rather than this, you know, taboo thing that you have to keep secret. It's also to give permission to people to say, you know what, this bothers me a lot and I'm going to fix it because it's safe and I just don't want to have to think about that anymore. I don't want to have to worry about it.
I totally agree. I think Sophia and I, we had a plastic surgeon on the show right when we sort of started Unwaxed.
Like in August,
And we asked her, we said, why is it such a scared topic that people are almost afraid to admit that they got it done? I mean, it's not like, you know, you're doing something that's against the law. It's plastic surgery and you're fixing something that'll make you feel better and make you feel happier when you wake up. So do you think that this sort of norm is changing as younger people are starting to get
I hope it is, and I feel like it is to some extent, but then at the same time, like I can tell when someone's had their butt done. And I see, you know, influencers your age, you know, squatting with weights like down into the camera, being like, I do squats and that's why my butt looks this way. And I'm like, bitch, no, like don't say that to people, because you know the young girls out there are like doing 1,000 squats and starving themselves and thinking they're gonna get that body.
Thank you.
This was the first thing I wrote down when I wanted to interview you. I said,
Shayla wrote Instagram versus reality.
I am one of those girls that will be on Instagram, look at all of the workout girls, copy down their exact workout that they post in the caption, trying to get their perfect bubble butt. And I do it for weeks. I do it for months. I eat like them. And I'm like, hold on, I'm just hungry and my butt got smaller. So what did I do wrong here? So I would love to know, is it real? Like the girls, especially the workout girls, promoting like their perfect body.
No,
like,
I will tell you the secret. Are you ready?
Yes.
Can we get a drum roll? Like if they don't have hip dips, they had work done.
Oh.
That's it. It's so easy. If they don't have hip dips, That's not real.
Oh my
So
God,
how
such
does
a
that?
good-
How does a procedure like that even happen? Like, what would you do for something?
I mean, there's different ways to do it. So you can either liposuction fat from like, your waist or your inner thighs and then stick it into the hip dips, which I do all the time. It makes the waist look smaller. It gives a nice little upside down heart kind of, look to the butt. And also, a lot of times people look like they have saddlebags, but they don't. They just have a massive dip above it.
Right.
So when you fill that dip, it kind of just makes everything smooth. You can do it with filler. There's what we call biostimulatory fillers that aren't like the filler you put in your lips. They actually make your own body create either fat or collagen or both. So that over time, as you get it injected, you start to build your own collagen and fat in those areas that you were missing it before. Now, let me tell you, you would think that the filler option would be a lot cheaper. It's not. It's actually much more expensive because you
Really?
actually have to buy that stuff off the
Oh, that
shelf.
makes
So it's
sense.
like you're going through a middleman versus getting lipo. You're kind of almost getting like a twofer, right? You're getting fat away from where you don't want it and
putting
you're
it-
using your own fat to put it where you do want it. So actually the surgery ends up being cheaper a lot of the times.
And that's why Sistine's always talking about butts specifically. And then I always go into stomachs because I feel like that's a big thing right now too, is you look at some of these girls that we just idolize on Instagram and they have these giant asses and these super flat stomachs. And I worked with this girl and she does a lot of these massages and she was like, if you look at a lot of these girls, they all kind of have the same stomach where they have a belly button fold, or there's something like that. I mean, is that kind of like the long-term effects if you do lipo on your stomach and take away that like extra thing?
No, it's just like a skin laxity thing. Over time, all of our skin, especially lighter skin tones, tend to have thinner skin than darker skin types. As the skin gets lax, that's when you get that little like fold of, a little hanging skin above the belly button. Could you get that from liposuction because you deflated it?
Right.
Yes, you could. But there's also so many like modalities right now, like radio frequency that can help tighten that skin. I do it on my own stomach all the time.
Oh, I want to try it, honestly. I've seen those. I'm like,
We are so up to trying anything.
Yeah, I'll do
I
it.
mean, honestly, let's do it all. Let's do it all. So what is sort of a telltale sign that someone's gotten work done? So we sort of discussed the upside down looking belly button. And the hip dips that aren't there. So how can you really tell?
I mean, I think a lot of times too on Instagram, things look good. Like high def lipo when they like will actually like etch a 6-pack with liposuction.
They can do that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it can look really good. I kind of like a medium def look where it's kind of like look defined, but your own muscle is showing through.
Yeah.
But the high def, sometimes on Instagram it looks good, but in real life it looks like somebody took a Sharpie to your stomach. So I see, and to put out there, and this is like an idea for another show that I have, is to actually bring in these young influencers and, show how they're tuning their bodies. Like, you guys, these girls that you're following on Instagram, I treat a lot of them, and I mean a lot of them, right? And a lot of them have liposuction scars, which is fine.
Yeah.
It is like you do have to have a certain body shape, but a lot of them are like bringing their hips out. They just do it on like Facetune or an app like that. So even the girls that are getting work done are still like doing things to their photos.
Yeah.
And it's not even that with just even plastic surgery. It's also the skin treatments they do. Like that, I know that I went to one place where it was this trend that everyone was doing like this. I forgot what it was called. This like skin tightening machine.
It doesn't work. I know it's formal. I mean, it works. It works, but like for like a second, right? Like you'd have to do it every week.
Every week, but it's thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to keep it up and going. And you're like, oh my God, how do these girls have like flawless tight skin? And it does work if you're consistent with it, but like no one can afford that. And you're just
but Sophia,
that's the other thing too. Yeah, it's like, what kind of messaging are we as plastic surgeons putting out there? It's like, yeah, we want to put out messaging so we have successful practices, but at the same time, how do we stay ethical and realize that we're putting out this like standard of beauty that most people cannot afford.
Right.
So it's like, I could say use medical grade skincare, but what if people can't? And we know that works.
Right.
Meanwhile, people are spending $5.99, $9.99 on stuff at the drugstore that doesn't work. So it's like, do you save up and buy the one thing that actually will make a difference? Or do you feel like, oh, that smells good and it's creamy, so that makes me feel like I'm doing self-care,
Yeah.
which has some value too,
Right.
but you're not going to see real changes.
So have you figured out that happy medium for someone that can't afford this super expensive and doesn't want to spend their money on the cheap drugstore?
So I started theskinspot.com. So it's
Okay.
literally 3 words, theskinspot.com, like 7 years ago. And it's all medical grade skincare, which is cool because since I'm a physician, I'm allowed to dispense it online, whereas companies aren't allowed to carry a lot of the brands that
Yeah.
I'm able to bring. And there are high lows. You know, there are brands that tend to be more expensive, like if they have stem cells in them and stuff like that. But then there's brands that actually have great ingredients, niacinamides, retinols, you know, all that stuff that are at a lower price point. But the point is, like, whether you're spending a lot or a little, there should be studies behind the skincare. You shouldn't be buying it because an influencer got paid to tell you to buy it.
So this is what I was trying to like come like full circle is when you're profiting off people for like doing things in fitness and eating habits and all of this stuff, when you've done all of the opposite, which is getting paid to do surgeries, or like you're paying for surgeries and you're paying for these treatments. And I mean, I'm not asking influencers or anybody to be 100% honest 24/7 because, you know, it's your decision.
They don't have
like
to,
you don't have
yeah.
to. It's not. I mean, it is also like uncomfortable to talk about. And I mean, it unfortunately, I wish it wasn't so awkward to bring up because it's just a surgery. It's not like you did something wrong. It's something you just wanted to have done. But it's just when you profit off of other people's insecurities and using that, saying like, I'm natural, I'm perfect. That's when you cross the line.
So are most of your clients sort of brought in through your Instagram because you do have such a strong following?
I'm like a data psychopath. So I know exactly where every dollar comes in from because I also went to business school. So most of my profit actually comes from Google. So SEO, search engine optimizations. And then, you know, I do have a large following, not as large as you guys, but you know, large for a doctor.
Well, large from our dad.
Yeah,
so.
we're kind of we're taking in whatever he's leaving. So not like we're trying.
But no, so I mean, I think like that also helps with search engine optimization.
Yeah.
So like Pinterest at this point, even though like no one's on Pinterest,
Hold
right?
on, me. I have about 10 boards.
I do for like bathroom
Pinterest.
remodels and
like
stuff
me
like that.
too.
But during COVID, Pinterest like peaked for skincare.
Wow.
So
really?
COVID's not even a social app anymore. It's literally search engine optimization. That is what it is.
Oh.
And so, you know, utilizing things and having knowledge of those things, like everything you do on social media now is 50% of search engine optimization. So having that, it's like the better the content you put out, the more, you know, Google's going to reward you. So
I would love to know when you started, what trends of plastic surgery were popular versus what is so popular today. Because my mom always says, you know, she was like a model in the 80s and 90s, and she's like, everyone wanted the giant double D.
Giant breasted, like,
and no butt. And now it's the complete opposite. So what was it like when you started?
That's what I was going to say. I think the biggest change I've seen is the breasts. And I mean, obviously the butts. People were getting liposuction of their butt like 20 years ago, and now they're coming to put that back in.
Put it in.
Oh my God.
No, and I honestly, guys, I just thought that was nuts, like, to begin with. And that's sort of where like the Natural by Nazarian came into place, because your clothes, like, you know, this is the best analogy I can give you. You know, when you like buy a couch, they tell you buy a neutral couch and then you can change the pillows.
Right.
That's a great.
So it's the same thing with your body. Like, just be well proportioned and you can change your clothes, but you shouldn't be like changing your body every 10 years.
Yes,
okay. So you
absolutely.
specialize in very natural.
Yeah, we
Very
wanted to make like look like very proportional, God-given, and then donate your clothes and buy new ones, you know, but you shouldn't be like liposuctioning your butt. Now you're putting fat back into your butt. You put big breast implants. Now you're getting small breast implants.
Well, I'm sure that just that wear and tear over the years can like really do a number on someone's body.
Yeah, I think like, I don't know. I just think doesn't sound right to me to be under the knife every 5 to 10 years. You should be doing stuff all the time to like boost collagen and keep your skin right. And you should be exercising and eating well and doing all of those things. Yeah. And plastic surgery has a place in that because there's certain things you can't work out off.
And that actually goes into like talking about tips and tricks, because I know people, obviously there's things that we should probably do every day religiously, even in our 20s. So when we're in our 40s,
absolutely.
What are like, for 20-year-olds, what are some good things they should start working on now when it comes to skincare, or whether it comes to body health,
or even taking certain vitamins?
Yeah, no, I mean, I take like 20 vitamins a day. It's a little
Really good
ridiculous.
idea.
But
do you believe in because some people don't believe in vitamins working, but I think they do
no,
if
they
you take
work.
the right ones.
They
Yeah.
absolutely work. Like I take hair vitamins and literally it's changed my hair.
Well, I would like to touch on that because
Yeah.
I had an issue. Some would say it's an addiction in the beginning of the
It was
pandemic.
an addiction. You had like
I
way too many milligrams.
took probably maybe 13 biotin gummies
And
a
let
day.
me tell you guys, biotin is not the end all be all. Biotin's like one little thing that helps
Right.
hair, but it can make you break out.
Oh, breakout! I looked like Rumpelstiltskin.
It was horrible.
It
She was
was
growing hair everywhere. It wasn't just
first
her-
of all, I was growing hair. I was looking like a Sasquatch, and I had acne, and I stopped taking biotin. I was like, okay, now my nails aren't growing as fast, but
no, but
everything
literally,
else-
let me tell you, like, there's we have vitamins that are on the skin spot that are
Okay.
actually evidence based. So
okay,
this
I
isn't
need
like
to
okay.
go- I'm going on the skin
a
spot.
gummy
Yeah, I
that
need
like
that.
your influencers getting paid, whatever.
Mhm.
Like literal, we want like scientific studies. Okay,
Okay.
like biopsying the hair follicle at the root. Like that's what I look for.
Okay,
Because I was
there
going
we
to
go.
tell you, like, I was talking to one of my influencer friends, and she's like, if I like advertise a curling iron and it's not the best curling iron, then no one's going to die. Okay. But me with an MD after my name, if I advertise something that's crap,
Right.
like
True.
people get hurt, like, you know, because
Right,
I'm,
True.
you know, advertising a curling iron.
So, what vitamins do you recommend? Going back to Sophia's question,
Yeah.
what treatments?
Yeah.
do you
So
think people
for
should
hair, I
start?
mean, Nutrafol, I think is the
Okay.
absolute best. It's on the site. If you get it in the 3-pack, it's pretty affordable. It comes out to like $30 ish. I
Mhm.
don't know. Maybe more. I don't know, but it's worth it because it works.
Yeah.
And the reason why I love it too, it's got a ton of turmeric in it, which is anti-inflammatory.
Right,
It's
yeah,
just
yeah.
like all the things like anti-cancer.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's good for you anyway. Like we should all be taking that. You know, we should all be on turmeric.
For
Well,
sure.
I gotta start doing that more.
We're bad. We're bad.
Yeah, no,
We
so
are
that one
bad.
I take, you know, every single day. I take a DIM, which
What's a
is basically
DIM? Yeah.
DIM is basically one that if your cells are choosing to go the cancerous route or not, it pushes them through the knot.
Oh,
Oh,
that's
wow.
really important.
I take vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin K. I take a probiotic. I mean, I'm just like literally.
Oh, good for you.
That's great. No, I've been taking probiotics, and that actually has changed my body a lot.
I have a question. This might be weird. My mom
Yeah.
said I should, even though I'm not trying to get pregnant right now, I am 22.
Yeah.
She said that I should take prenatal vitamins just because they're full of a ton of vitamins and good things. Is that weird to start taking now?
It's not weird. No, it's not weird. But honestly, at this point, like just, you know, you have to also look at the back of the ingredients too, because a lot of them have similar ingredients. So you're like overdosing on things
That's
like
true.
biotin.
The problem is
or
Sophia and I will
you're
just
getting
go for
like
the
5,000 milligrams of like whatever, something that
we go
Right.
from 0 to 100. We don't like slowly transition into doing anything. We kind of just like do it.
Well,
and
we
then-
also look for the flavored gummies.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
we-
that is true. We look for like the ones that are covered in sugar,
Oh,
and then
Yeah.
we realize that all of that sugar is breaking us out, and it doesn't work well in our stomachs.
guys,
and
sugar
we feel
is like
nauseous.
toxic.
no,
Yeah.
as I'm drinking a Red Bull, sugar free though.
Sugar free.
Okay, so what about lasers? I mean, how effective are lasers for skin?
Amazing. So, you know, because again, like I'm kind of like an influencer in the beauty space,
Yeah.
I basically get my pick of lasers. So I always tell people, no matter whether you're in this country even or not, just go on my website, look at the devices section, and those are the lasers you want.
Okay.
Because for every one laser that's on my website, I've personally tried 3 or 4 on my own body. So
Oh,
Oh,
man.
that's
See, if
awesome.
I was you and we were in that office, I would just sit there and do lasers all over myself all day. I mean, how great would that
you
be?
think you would, but
Yeah.
it's so busy. Like
Oh.
sometimes I'll go months and months without even getting like, you know, injected for wrinkles
Yeah.
because it's just like by the end of the day, I'm like, oh.
Wait, so that actually, okay, I've never done Botox or anything like that before. And some of my girlfriends have already started, and I'm 24,
Yeah.
25. Is there like a certain time that you should start doing it?
You
That's
should
better.
start now.
Oh, really?
I already see like when you were just turned a little bit, you know, you're already starting to get a little something. And it's not bad, you guys, but I'll give
If
you a
I
little
get crow's feet
secret.
too.
Like
No.
I started when I was 28.
Mhm.
Okay.
And that's just because we were practicing on each other, like we were in residency.
Yeah.
But now, you know, I'm 41, and all my friends that look younger or look good for my friends group,
Yeah.
Yeah.
somebody told them to start at 20. Like somebody in their 20s,
Really?
somebody
Right.
like gave them the secret. Either their mom worked for a plastic surgeon or their mom was an
Okay.
esthetician or something.
Okay.
But the secret really is, especially for lighter skin tones, is start in your 20s.
What
So
about
if I wanted to do it
We
though,
have so
no,
many
but this is
questions.
what it is though, because I feel like people that because I have some girlfriends that even ask me like, when would you start? I'm like, I don't know.
The average age of Botox is 25.
It's 20.
The
Okay.
average.
There we
age.
go.
Not in LA, like in the country. That
In the
means some
country,
people are starting
25.
when they're 20 and some people are starting when
But
they're
how
30.
do I do it without totally freezing my face? Because I'm also someone
But
that
it's
likes
just
to do
a
very
dosage.
natural.
It's like when you
Okay.
have a headache, do you take a full Tylenol or half a Tylenol?
Okay.
Right?
And I heard
Half
also
Tylenol,
Botox helps with migraines, which I have a lot of migraines.
Yeah, then you should definitely, it'll be good.
Okay, maybe
I have
check in
no
on that.
migraines, but I'll be right there. I will be
Yeah.
right by your side. So I think that a lot of women and some men have been, using this time in COVID to sort of get these procedures done because they have a lot of time to heal. So have you
Not
seen?
just that, like you can get a facelift and wear a mask and nobody knows.
Exactly. That's the.
Oh
I mean,
my
that's the
God.
brilliant part. But are people coming in? Is it
I wish I
getting-
was at this time that I needed a
know.
facelift or something. I could do it.
Give us
Maybe I
5
should
years.
just do everything
Give us
right
5
now.
years.
I know.
Have you found some patients coming in saying, like I see myself on the Zoom computer and I don't like the way it looks. So have you been changing, just based off of how they look on a computer?
Yeah, I mean, you know how like Zoom, it's basically like the cameras coming up kind of under your neck. We've definitely seen a shift in lower face procedures, whether it's minimally invasive or, full surgical procedure or just lasers for tightening along the jawline or even fillers to like pronounce the jawline. We've been seeing a lot of people coming in for that.
Everyone's been obsessed with a lot of these singers, influencers, all of it, and they have this extremely sharp jawline. And I remember Sistine and I, we don't have, I would say,
it does not exist,
the sharpest jaw in the world. I know the trick of like swallowing.
Yeah, like sucking.
I don't know how to do that.
I know how to do photos like that. So I trick everyone. I'm like, whatever. But I know right now that some people are like, how do I get to that? Like, how would I fill it in? And sometimes that's part of your neck. Like, unless you get a procedure to get rid of, I heard like that part of your neck.
I mean, you can definitely, all of us have some fat there. And also some people have a weak chin. So if you have a weak chin, it sort of leaves a little skin hanging. Whereas if you just got chin filler, it would kind of pull that skin forward.
Oh, that makes sense.
So I think there's a lot of different like anatomical considerations in the lower face. And for me, I look at every, aesthetic patient as like, what's their diagnosis? So, when you go to the doctor, they're like, do you have diabetes? Do you have high blood pressure? Like, what is your diagnosis?
Right.
I look at someone's face or breasts or whatever it is, and I say, okay, what am I looking at? What's the diagnosis?
Right.
And there's different treatments for different problems.
So is there something that you would absolutely turn away? Like if a patient came to you and said, I want to do this. Has that
you ever
happened?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's hilarious because people, I think patients are like, oh, you're the third plastic surgeon I'm meeting with, and they think they're interviewing me, but no, I'm interviewing you.
Yeah,
like
that's what's
true.
up.
That's true. See,
I'm not hungry. Mama's not starving.
I
Like, I give my
this.
patients my cell phone number, and therefore I'm constantly asking myself 2 questions. Do I want this person to have my cell phone number?
right.
And 2, are they capable of happiness? Because if you're incapable of happiness, there's no way I can make you happy.
They'll never be
Yeah.
satisfied.
Yeah. So I just turn people away. I just refunded someone $25,000
Wow.
for a surgery because I was like, you're not ready to receive happiness right now.
What type of surgery was it? If you don't, is it? Can you
Oh my God, I think it was like liposuction, fat transfer, maybe like a breast lift.
Okay, so
okay.
being happy, that's such a I've never heard that being even like correlated with your practice. No, not in that way. It sounds terrible, but you know what I
No,
mean?
I know
like,
that's what you're saying. Because I don't think.
but you genuinely care about the patient and
It's
their
not just
well-being.
that, like, it's not just caring about the patient. You want happy patients,
Right,
right?
of
Why would I
course.
operate on someone that I know no matter what I do, it's not going to save their marriage, or
Yeah.
no matter what I do, that guy telling them something about their boobs when she was 15, like, I'm never going to be able to fix that. Like, I have people come in with like micro photos of like how how another plastic surgeon messed them up. And I'm looking at them being like, you look great.
Yeah, right.
So it's like, there's no way I can make you happy if that result doesn't make you happy.
Would you ever? Because I've had some of my girlfriends mention to me, like, or not my girlfriends, but I've had like heard stories about girls getting commented by like guys saying that they don't look great down there, and them wanting to get plastic surgery from that. Have you ever had those scenarios? Just because I know some guys can be cruel. Porn industry is just like so fabricated and unrealistic. And have you ever had that situation where girls come up to you and said like, I'm really, really insecure because someone's made a comment on it and I'm like comparing myself to them? And
I think the only time somebody said those like exact words to me was it was a pilot for a show. And I turned her down because it was fine. But no, I think in general, I think, with branding, as you guys know, whatever you project and whatever you put out there is what is going to be attracted to you. So I put out such like a strong female boss lady kind of thing,
Yeah.
that's sort of the type of patient population that I attract.
Mhm.
I've never had someone bring in a picture of a celebrity ever.
Oh,
Really?
Ever. What plastic surgeon says that? Right?
Right.
So literally people just come in, they're like, I want to look like myself. I just want to look optimized. I want to look
Right.
like myself. I just want to be refreshed.
Yeah.
Nobody
Yeah.
comes in and they're like, this Bella Hadid's eyes, like people don't come to me with that.
Okay, I'm gonna pick up on that. I'm gonna pick up on that little comment there because I have a question. A lot of these models have these snatched, fox eye, lifted faces. Is this from threading? I've heard threading is the thing.
For the models, it's from surgery.
It's like a little facelift, I'm assuming.
They've
you've,
had
cut.
they've had like a little mini
Is that
thing
what
back.
happens after? Okay, so they get it young and it's fine. It looks great. Like if you wanted to get it, all good. But after a couple years, when you're getting older and your skin is actually starting to age, does something happen where they have to redo that whole thing, or is
I mean, if they want the same look, you know, we never stop aging, right?
Right.
So if I always, even a facelift, a full facelift lasts like 8 to 10 years, and they have to redo.
Oh.
Yeah, because your skin continues to stretch.
right?
You know?
Even if you do radio frequency and tightening. and
No,
things like that?
well, that's the thing. Like, that's what we're thinking now is like, let's see
Okay.
how far we can push this now. Because all the radio frequency stuff's been out for like 5-6 years.
Right.
So now all my facelift patients, I try to explain to them, I'm not changing the quality of your skin by doing a surgery. But these modalities can change the quality of your skin. So that's why a maintenance program is needed
Mhm.
to maintain your results.
Mhm.
And I have all of them on it now. I mean, so far so good, but only time will tell.
Right.
I would love to transition a little bit and talk about sort of your experience coming up in this male dominated industry. You know, again, like we mentioned, we had the prior plastic surgeon come on the show and she said practicing when I was starting was being a woman, X on you, being pretty, X on you, being smart, X on you, like, and wanting to be a mom with a husband. Like, it just were all things that basically everyone was saying was unobtainable, yet you obtained all of them.
Yeah.
I would love to know some of your highs and lows, like how hard it was for you.
And maybe like something that helped you push forward, like a quote or something that you always say to yourself when you feel like you're against the odds.
I think the thing that pushed me forward was kind of proving people wrong.
Yeah.
And I think that can be a very strong motivator when people tell you you can't. You're like, watch me. But at the same time, I don't think it's healthy to let that be your motivator forever.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think as of like 5-6 years ago, I was like, okay, I did everything I said I was going to do. Now I'm going to really make decisions based off of my quality of life and what makes me happy and what fulfills me. So I think it's good to sort of, you know, get that drive based off of like proving people wrong. But at the same time, at some point, you got to let that go.
Yeah.
But, you know, coming up, I think I was so exhausted and so busy and working so hard. I kind of I wasn't even aware of anyone being like, oh, you're a girl. But after I graduated and started to become successful, you know, there's a saying that like, you know, people want you to be successful, but not more successful than them.
Right.
Wow.
So I think I felt that a lot. And me posting pictures of myself, like I love clothes, I love fashion. But when I was coming out, it kind of wasn't considered ethical to do any kind of advertising.
Right.
So me doing pictures in gowns on social media, I mean, there were literal board meetings at our societies talking about how I use unfair tactics to
Are you
gain followers.
serious?
Me in a gown is an unfair tactic.
How is that unfair?
Yeah, I don't understand the thought
Because
process.
I don't know. I honestly don't know, but it's just like, you know, can the men do that? No.
They wear a suit and they're
So
like, oh
that's
no, you look
unfair
handsome. But
Too handsome. Yeah, that's ridiculous. And so
No, and I mean, I got shat on so much, like so much.
So
You
how
know,
did
people-
how did you push through that? You know, because I think a lot of people, and I know we can certainly relate
Yeah.
to even like people that we thought were our friends, like kick
Yeah,
us down
oh, totally.
and people, they really don't have our back and don't want us to succeed.
or they
like
make
you said.
assumptions just because we have a certain last name or we have a certain following and we're in
Yeah.
this type of industry where they think, oh, they're probably not that intellectual just
So
because
what-
they do a certain career. Or
So what
whatever.
kept driving you?
I think you got to know kind of who you are on the inside and you got to have your core values really straight. And once you know who you are and you know whose opinions you actually do care about, And I always say, like, you should only care about people's opinions if they want to see you succeed. If somebody rather see you fall flat on your face, why are you spending time and energy caring about what that person thinks?
Right.
And that didn't come to me naturally. You know, I'm a Middle Eastern girl. We're I don't know like what Italians are like, but like it was basically like you were supposed to be a good girl. Like you lived to be patted on the head and told what a good girl you are.
Right.
So it took me a minute to be like, you know what? I don't need anybody else's approval.
Right.
I know who I am. My husband knows who I am. My kids love me. I have a healthy marriage and a healthy family. My dad's proud of me, and that's pretty much all I care about.
You got your tribe, and that's it.
Literally, like this weekend, I got mean girled by like a bunch of injectors because I was injecting my own face, and they're like, "What are you doing?" Blah blah blah.
I would do
and
it if I was an injector.
We're gonna come after you if you don't take that down. I was like, I don't give a fuck.
Wait, why would you have to take that down?
I love that energy.
Because apparently there's a
I don't
lot
give
of
a
people
shit.
like self-injecting illegally right now, and I'm like, so does that mean like if I show, you know, a Brazilian butt lift, like me injecting fat into the butt, that's gonna make someone go buy silicone from Home Depot and inject their own? Like, no, if they weren't gonna do it to begin with, seeing me do it in a surgery isn't gonna make them do it.
No.
There's no way you can ever make everyone happy.
Yeah, but like people come, if somebody comes at me with like a threat, they're gonna get like like.
Oh, so you're like we're like little bulldogs.
We are bulldogs.
Yeah,
Honestly, if
I always
someone,
say I'm a lion. I'm like, don't go after the lion. Like,
Good for you.
Honestly,
I love
it. Honestly, individually, we're not like that. Together,
Scary.
It's scary. No, and I like that. You know what it is that I like that you speak up, because that's what we need to start doing. And especially when it comes to people bullying or not treating someone with respect, like treat others the way you want to be treated. I don't understand why. I do think it takes a lot more work to be mean to someone than it is to be
for
like,
sure.
Yeah.
So I just don't know where all that energy comes from. But
It comes
speaking
from
up,
like their upbringing. It comes from their parents. It comes, you know,
I
like look at the
completely agree with
kids in
that.
school. Like if the kids, you know, mean girl, it's because their mom's a bitch.
My
like,
mom says this. My mom's like, if there's a kid that was bullying you guys at school, I'm not blaming the kid. I'm looking at the parent, because obviously the parent isn't raising the kid with love and kindness. And
they're
that's
just
what
a
they need.
product.
It's not even
of their
that. Maybe it's
environment.
not even boundaries. Maybe it's too much love and kindness. Maybe it's
Exactly.
not like enough grounding. Like
We've seen both.
We
We've
have seen
seen
both.
both. But I like that you are so strong, and you're just a strong female, and you're also, it's inspiring for a lot of women.
Inspiring for me.
It's inspiring for me
Yeah.
too, because I know that there have been moments where I'm like, shit, I should have spoken up. And I'm happy you did, and I'm really excited that you're here
you know
right
what's
now
the best,
talking to
Sistine,
us.
is when somebody, I actually give a talk on this, turning your haters into motivators. I have
Ooh.
I have a nonprofit too called Think Big.
Okay.
It's under nazarianinstitute.org. But I actually have a talk that I just gave as a keynote too. I'm giving it again in Vegas this weekend. But it's called Turning Your Haters into Motivators. And two of the best things to do when somebody says something shitty to you is, the first thing is just ask them to repeat it louder. Say, I'm sorry, can you say that a little bit louder? And then they're like, "Her." That's number one.
Oh my God.
And number two is like, you want to return the question with your question. So for example, one time I was getting off of stage after I gave a talk, and this guy was like, I don't know why they asked you to give that talk. And I was like, well, who should they have asked? You? So answer it with a question.
Because it turns it back on them.
I got chills.
No, but seriously, when people, I think when they spit out hate, they're not really thinking about what they're saying. And then you ask them to repeat, and they're like, oh shit, that really sounded bad.
Yeah.
And they have to have a lot of cojones to be like, yeah,
They
that's
never
what I
repeat
said.
it. They never repeat it. They just
No.
back up.
Oh my God. I love that.
Like, say that louder in the mic.
You're like, get back on stage.
Wait, I'm sorry. Can I Snapchat it? Do it one more time for my following. No, that's amazing. So you're like a motivational speaker.
Jeez.
I don't even know if that's it. It's just sort of like things that I've learned, you know? And honestly, like I look at my Instagram, I look at, you know, the teaching that I do and all of that, and I look at it as a diary for my kids. You know, it's sort of like something that they can go back and be like, oh, yeah.
Right.
How old are your kids?
You will not believe it. I don't even believe it. My eldest daughter just applied to my high school. Like that means you're old.
Oh my God.
So I have a 14-year-old, 12-year-old boy, and a 9-year-old girl.
Oh my God. I love the mix. Yeah.
That's
We have all
perfect.
girls.
That means you're gonna have a good boy because he's got sisters to keep him in check.
We're working on him. We're working on
He's
him.
adorable. He's adorable.
He's so funny. He's like, he really wants a cell phone. I'm like, well, you have to show maturity by being nice to your sisters. And he
Ooh,
like,
there
can
we
I
go.
Can I
There
get
we
one
go.
strike? I'm like, yeah, you can get one strike.
Can I be mean
Strikes are
one
out.
time?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cute. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show today. I mean, I could continue this conversation forever, but I know you're a busy woman. But we
No,
really
it's so
do.
fun.
We really
Yeah.
do appreciate it. Please plug all of your info, your Instagram, so everyone can find you.
No, sure. I think the best thing is I have a link tree with all of my links on my main Instagram.
Oh,
It's Dr. Sheila Nazarian, so Dr. Sheila Nazarian. And then if you go to the link in bio, you'll see everything.
Okay, perfect. Thank you again for coming
Yeah,
on.
thank
We
you so
love
much.
you.
So nice to meet you
We're
both.
gonna we'll see you in your office very soon.
Sounds
We're back in
good,
LA.
sounds good.
I will see you there.
All
Bye.
right, bye. Bye.
From all of us here at the show, thanks for staying unwaxed.
No, Kelly Clarkson!
Be sure to download new episodes every Tuesday on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or podcast1.com. Follow your hosts at Sophia Stallone and at Sistine Stallone. And be sure to follow the show at Unwaxed Podcast. Your producer is Will Sterling. We'll see you next week.